Welcome to Hidden Pages, where we uncover the truth between the lines. Have you ever felt a creeping fear that you're being watched? Not by a person, but by something far more pervasive, something built into the very walls of your life? A quiet hum of control that encourages you to blend in, to think the same thoughts, to feel the same feelings. A world where being different is the most dangerous thing you can be. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Imagine a man named Winston Smith. He's not a hero. He's not a revolutionary. He's just an ordinary man, living in a grey, crumbling world. His job is a peculiar one. He works at the Ministry of Truth, where his task is to rewrite history. Day after day, he alters old newspapers and documents, erasing people who have fallen out of favour, changing facts to match the party's ever-shifting narrative. He creates a past that never was, for a future that is always the same. He is a ghost, editing the memories of a nation. Winston lives in a state of quiet desperation, his soul gnawed away by the lies he helps to create. He dreams of a time before, a time he can barely remember, when truth was something solid, not something manufactured. But in his world, even a memory can be a crime. What happens when the official story is the only one you're allowed to remember? Everywhere Winston looks, the eyes of Big Brother are upon him. Posters with the caption "Big Brother is watching you" are plastered on every corner. But the real surveillance is far more insidious. Telescreens, two-way televisions, are installed in every home, in every public space. They broadcast endless propaganda, but they also watch and listen, relentlessly. There is no privacy. A wrong word, a flicker of dissent in your eyes, a nervous habit, it all could lead to your disappearance in the middle of the night. The greatest fear isn't the thought police, it's the prison you build in your own mind. You begin to police yourself, censoring your own thoughts before they can even form. You learn to wear a mask of conformity, to smile at the right moments, to cheer for victories you know are false. You become your own jailer. The party's control isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's a finely tuned machine of fear. The daily 2 minutes hate is a perfect example. Citizens gather before a telescreen to scream and rage at the image of Emmanuel Goldstein, the supposed archenemy of the state. It's a ritual of collective hysteria, a way to channel all their frustrations, fears, and suppressed anger onto a designated target. This conditioning creates a state of learned helplessness. People become so overwhelmed by the constant threat and emotional manipulation that they lose the will to resist. They accept the party's control as inevitable, a natural state of being. The system doesn't just want your obedience, it wants your love. It wants you to embrace your own subjugation with a grateful heart. How do you fight an enemy that has already conquered your mind? Propaganda is the air they breathe. The party controls reality by controlling language itself. This is the principle of Newspeak, a language designed to narrow the range of thought, to make heresy, literally, unthinkable. Words like freedom and individuality are slowly being erased from a dictionary. If there's no word for it, how can you even conceive of the idea? Then there's doublethink, the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting both of them. To know that you are rewriting history while believing in the new history you've just created. It's a form of willful insanity, a necessary skill for survival. Your identity is no longer your own. It's a reflection of what the party tells you it is. Your emotions are not your own. They are managed, directed, and exploited. But even in this perfectly controlled world, the human spirit flickers. Winston finds a spark of hope. He begins a secret rebellion, first by writing his forbidden thoughts in a diary. Then, by falling in love with a woman named Julia. Their affair is not just an act of passion, it is a political act. It is a small, private world they build for themselves, a space where the party cannot reach. For a brief, beautiful moment, Winston feels human again. He dares to believe that the system can be broken, that the human spirit cannot be entirely crushed. But this hope is a fatal trap. The party allows such small rebellions to fester, only to crush them more completely. They are captured. And it's here, in the sterile white corridors of the Ministry of Love, that Winston learns the true nature of power. His spirit is not just broken, it is methodically unmade, then remade in the party's image. Does this world feel unnervingly familiar? We live in an age of screens. Our devices watch us, listen to us, and collect vast amounts of data about our lives. Algorithms predict our desires and shape our opinions, feeding us a curated reality designed to keep us engaged and distracted. We voluntarily surrender our privacy for convenience. We conform to social trends, adopting the same opinions, using the same slang, chasing the same fleeting moments of online validation. We participate in our own 2 minutes hate, directing our outrage at designated targets on social media. Are we building our own version of Oceania, not through overt force, but through a soft, comfortable, digital conformity? The ultimate horror of Winston's story is not his physical demise, but the death of his inner self. In the end, sitting in a cafe, a broken man, he looks up at the poster of Big Brother. The struggle is finished. He has won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother. The warning is not about a dystopian future, it's about the eternal present. It is a desperate plea to protect the private space inside your own head, the one place where you can be truly free. We must guard our ability to think critically, to question narratives, and to hold on to our own, independent thoughts. Because sometimes, the most powerful act of rebellion is simply to think for yourself, in a world that asks you not to. Have you ever felt the ground shift beneath your feet? Not literally, but the feeling that a memory, something you knew for certain, has changed. A historical event slightly altered in the news report. A public figure you remember saying one thing, now credited with another. It starts small. A name spelled differently in the archives. A date shifted by a day. Then, it grows. What was true yesterday is not true today. What is true today might be heresy tomorrow. And it's not just records. People disappear too. Not in a dramatic flash, but quietly. A colleague you worked with for years is suddenly gone. Not just from the office, but from every photo, every email chain, every memory but your own. When you ask, you're met with blank stares. What colleague? There was never anyone by that name. You start to doubt yourself. Was she ever really there? The system doesn't just erase people, it erases the memory of them, leaving behind a void that you are silently expected to accept. How do you hold on to a reality that is constantly being dismantled around you? Step inside the heart of this operation. It's not a sinister, shadowy chamber, but a brightly lit, sterile office. The Ministry of Truth. Here, reality is manufactured on an industrial scale. Armies of clerks sit at identical desks, their faces illuminated by the cold glow of screens. Their task is relentless, mechanical. They receive directives through pneumatic tubes, slips of paper ordering the rectification of history. A speech needs to be rewritten. A statistic needs to be adjusted. A person needs to be unpersoned. The work is a deluge of paperwork, a torrent of digital files. There is no time for reflection, no room for questioning. You simply obey. The tools are not chisels and stone, but keyboards and monitors. History isn't carved into monuments, it's coded into databases. The past becomes a fluid, editable document. The clerks, day after day, rewrite articles, alter photographs, and delete records, replacing them with a new, approved version of the truth. Their own memories become a liability, a messy, unreliable archive that must be disciplined and ignored. The screen in front of them is the only truth that matters. The constant hum of the machines and the endless scroll of text drowns out the faint, persistent whisper of what they once knew to be real. Is it possible to edit the world so much that you forget what was there to begin with? But rewriting history is only half the battle. To truly control a population, you must control its emotions. Rage, fear, devotion, these are not spontaneous feelings. They are engineered. Imagine a daily ritual, a mandatory assembly. On a giant screen, the face of an enemy appears. A traitor, a foreign threat, a thought criminal. The crowd is prompted to unleash its fury. And they do. Faces contort. Voices rise into a collective roar of hatred. People scream, they throw things, they lose themselves in a shared, cathartic rage. This is the 2 minutes hate. It's a pressure valve, a way to channel all the frustration, all the quiet desperation of their lives, and aim it at a designated target. This controlled outrage serves a vital purpose. It takes the anger that might be directed inward, at the system, at the endless work and the tasteless food and the constant surveillance, and it points it outward. It unites people not in love or shared purpose, but in shared hatred. Their individual anxieties melt away into the heat of the collective mob. They feel powerful, righteous, connected. It's a manufactured emotional storm that washes away doubt and dissent, leaving behind a clean slate of pure, unthinking loyalty to the party. When your deepest feelings are no longer your own, what is left of you? Now consider the words you use to think. What if they started to shrink? Not just the vocabulary, but the very concepts they represent. This is the goal of Newspeak. The dictionary gets thinner every year. Words with complex or rebellious meanings are eliminated. Why have excellent, wonderful, and superb when you can just have plus good? Or for greater emphasis, double plus good. Why use a word like freedom when the very concept is undesirable? The idea is simple. If the words to express a thought don't exist, the thought itself becomes impossible. It cannot be formed, cannot be shared, cannot be remembered. Your inner world, the rich landscape of your thoughts and feelings, begins to collapse. Nuance is the first casualty. Ambiguity, irony, poetry, all of it is stripped away, deemed unnecessary. Language becomes purely functional, a tool for simple communication and direct orders. Your ability to think critically, to question, to imagine alternatives, withers and dies. You are left with a small, sterile set of pre-approved ideas. The architecture of your mind is being systematically dismantled, brick by brick, until only the state-sanctioned structure remains. If you can't think of a rebellion, how can you ever start one? The result of all this, the rewritten past, the engineered emotions, the shrinking language, is the final erosion of the self. Individuality becomes a dangerous anomaly. Look around. The faces in the crowd start to look the same. The same bland expression. The same drab, uniform clothing. People move in sync, they speak in slogans, they react with programmed emotion. They have become interchangeable parts in a vast, unthinking machine. To stand out, to have a unique opinion, a personal taste, a private thought, is to invite suspicion. It is to mark yourself for erasure. The safest path is silence. To blend in. To wear the mask of conformity so tightly that it eventually fuses with your skin. You learn to cheer when everyone else cheers, to hate when everyone else hates. You keep your head down, your thoughts to yourself, if you have any left. The vibrant, messy, unpredictable tapestry of human personality is bleached and pressed into a single, uniform sheet. The ultimate goal is not just obedience, but the complete annihilation of the individual spirit, until nothing remains but a hollow vessel filled with the will of the party. Does any of this feel familiar? Think about the world outside your window. The algorithm that curates your reality, showing you a version of the world it thinks you want to see. The news headlines that shift and change by the hour, burying yesterday's crisis under today's outrage. The endless scroll, a digital stream designed to hold your attention, to occupy your mind, to replace deep thought with shallow reaction. We are surrounded by systems that subtly shape our perceptions, our emotions, and even our relationships. We perform for a digital crowd, polishing our lives into an acceptable, likable brand. The social pressure to conform, to adopt the right opinions, to join the right virtual mob, is immense. We may not have a ministry of truth, but we have trending topics. We may not have a 2 minutes hate, but we have online pilo-NS and cancellation crusades. We may not have Newspeak, but we have character limits, memes, and echo chambers that shrink our worldview. The tools are different, more subtle, often chosen by us willingly. But the slow erosion of independent thought, the outsourcing of our memory to a digital cloud, and the engineering of our outrage for engagement, the parallels are unsettling. We are building our own cages, and we are handing over the keys. In a world that is constantly screaming for your attention, for your outrage, for your conformity, the most radical act might be silence. To unplug, to close the screen and open a book, to reclaim your own mind from the endless noise. The freedom to think your own thoughts, to feel your own feelings, to hold onto your own quiet, unedited memories. This is the last frontier. It's an internal freedom that no system can completely conquer, as long as you are willing to fight for it. It doesn't require a grand rebellion. It begins with a single, sovereign thought. And in the quiet space you create for it, you might just find what it means to be human again.